Wow.
I know.
I've never quite heard that bio like that before, but
See,
thank you so much.
That's what happens when you talk about stuff.
Right? How's everybody doing? Am I loud enough to hear back in the back? Can everybody hear me? I was I had something I was going to say the other day, and I thought I was actually going to, for the first time, become prepared to speak, and then I forgot what I was actually going to speak. And then it's because, as Sylviane said, I'm getting old. So interesting thing, when that happened, I was cleaning my house up last week, or a couple days ago, and this book falls out, and my mother's multidimensional mind course book fell out, and this slip of paper goes flying across the floor, and it says, in Lakesh, I am another you. And so I was sitting here thinking about this because this entire thing right here is, as I was saying earlier, is a vision that my mother and I had years ago, and then she had a dream of that we were going to work on the Navajo reservation in Arizona, and that a woman that works for Indian Affairs was going to bring us out there to work. It's perfect. And this lady right here, sister, Michelle Morgan Flowers, brought us out there. She works for Indian Affairs, and my friend Virginia, who's going to be speaking later, were speakers at the first annual Healers Gathering on the Navajo Reservation in Arizona. So it was pretty profound, because when you think about that, my mother had that vision in 2008, and then she transitioned into spirit in January of 2012. In August of 2012, I was speaking at the first annual Healers Gathering. And what's even more cool about that is my mother used to have a vision of me speaking in front of crowds, and then she saw herself in the background. She used to have dreams about her walking in the crowd, laying her hands on people. And at first I was like, how are people going to receive healers? You know, my little ego mind got involved. And how are people going to receive healers walking through the crowds? Well, what I saw is that my mother's spirit was walking through the crowd, and I saw this flash of light behind people, and I actually at one point saw hands coming down on somebody. So I am another you. I thought that was pretty significant when we're thinking about oneness, because we have a lot of different people here that do different things. We have different modalities. We have different music. We have people coming all the way from Lakeland. We actually have people here from Kentucky. We have somebody that just got here from North Carolina. People have come from all over to be here. It's pretty exciting. The idea here is that we are all one. And that is what I was talking about earlier. We all have one heartbeat. And so we tend to forget that we have one heartbeat when we're speaking with each other. When somebody says a word that doesn't agree with what our paradigm is, we start to say, I don't agree, or I disagree, or I see it differently. And so the truth is that every single one of you out there wants the same things at the core. We're talking about the core. We're not talking about your story. We're talking about the core. Every one of you. Is there anybody in here that doesn't want to be loved? Anybody? Anybody here that doesn't want to be loved? Now, it might come in different forms or different stories, but you all want to feel loved. Does anybody here not want to believe in something greater than what they are? Anybody? Show of hands? No. Does anybody here want to be magnificent and lead a magnificent life? Okay. Does anybody want to believe and grow towards something here? Show of hands? A lot of commonality here, right? Each one of you might call yourself a Buddhist, a Christian, a spiritualist. You may call yourself a psychic, a healer, a musician. You may call yourself a motivational speaker. You may just be somebody that loves to give hugs. The truth is that we all want to go towards the same thing. So another wisdom came up for me recently is that my grandmother taught me this saying a long time ago. She said, if you got one finger pointing out in judgment, Jared, then you got three pointing back at you. And when you're younger, I just thought that was just the dumbest thing I ever heard of in my life. And her wisdom didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then years fast forward to about 2008, another friend of mine said to me, Jared, if you got one finger pointing out in judgment, you got three pointing back at you. And for those of you that are from Kentucky, you know who said that. And so Virginia, my friend Virginia here, she said that to me. And because I was significantly mad at a person that was a friend of mine, and I was in judgment of her. And what she was saying is, take a look at yourself. Because if I'm another you and you're another me, when I judge you, who am I judging? Yourself. But when we go in flow and everything just happens in divine order, and we allow each experience in our life to become something that enhances who we are, guess what? We get to grow. Not only ourselves, who else? All of us, yourself. And I think Elena said it beautifully earlier today. She was quoting the Tao, and she said she was talking about that we are not only are the drop in the ocean, but guess what else we are? We are the entire ocean. So that I never actually got to hear that phrase or that quote until later on. I was actually reading the Bible, and I went to 1 Corinthians 12, and he was talking about the body, and I was just amazed by the scripture because if you mentioned the Bible or Jesus up till about 6 years ago, I would have told you I don't want to hear about that. And so what it was saying is that each part of our component of our body is necessary. And I laughed hysterically because I realized that the body of the universe or God, we are all components within that. And then I just busted out laughing. I was like, oh, could you imagine if the toes stopped working and separated themselves from the body and said, I'm just not going to work for you anymore? And could you imagine if the heart said, guess what? I'm not going to pump for you anymore. I'm just sick of you. And then the lungs said, I'm not going to breathe air through the body for you anymore. And then the kidneys just started to break down and everything. What would you think would start happening to your body? It would start not functioning correctly. And so when the body is not in oneness and when it's not in harmony, and that's what Robert Austin was talking about earlier, the tune-up in the body, when it's not tuned up, then it's not working in harmony with itself. It's not in oneness. And so we are all one body. We may be the cell, but we're also the whole. And oftentimes, does anybody out here have this feeling where they feel like they're the raisin within the galaxy? Do you ever feel like you're just this tiny little aspect? And in the victim, I think somebody was talking about the world working against them. They feel like that sometimes. Do you ever feel like that? It's okay. You can raise your hand that sometimes we get in a bad space and everything kind of gets to us. Does that ever happen? That's what I call the raisin in the galaxy. You feel like the raisin in the galaxy. I want to remind you that you are not just the raisin. You are the whole. And when you get in harmony with your heart and you start feeling that heart that's working in harmony with everybody and you get it in balance and you do a tune-up inside of yourself, then guess what? The flow of the universe starts working in harmony with yourself, and then the world starts blossoming for you. Then it starts opening up in your heart. Get in your heart. Everybody just take a second just to get in your heart. Close your eyes, and let's feel this heartbeat. Feel the water coming up. And I want you to take a deep breath in. And I want you to feel it. Feel the birds. Feel the breeze. Feel the trees, the peacocks, the birds, the butterflies. There's music playing right now. While I got you here, while I got you in the still space, I want us to go way out, way out. So I'm going to ask you on a count of 3, I want you to take a deep breath in and hold it. So take a deep breath in, hold it. And on the count of 3, when I hit 3, I want you to expand out to the universe. So 1, 2, 3, go. Now I want you to feel that cosmic tone. Can you guys feel that? It's a cosmic heartbeat. you don't feel it, just get a little bit deeper in. If you feel the energy, just raise your hand. Everybody's got their eyes closed. Just feel it. Feel it. Feel it. It's the cosmic symphony. It's oneness. It's who we are. I am another you, and you are another me. If we want to find true healing in our lives, if we want to find true greatness in our lives, we have to embrace the greatness that is everybody. We have to love everybody just as much as we love ourselves. Remember, you're not the raisin. You're also everything else. And so with that being said, we want to take care of everything else. We want to take care of the plants and the animals, our children, your neighbor. We want to love everything because we know it's all us. We're all one with it. I'm going to end actually very shortly today. I'm not going to stay up on the stage very long. I actually want everybody, while I'm walking off the stage, I would like you to stand up and just embrace the person next to you. Just embrace them. And I want you to feel their heartbeat. Feel it. And if you're sitting down, don't hesitate to get up. And I want you to find somebody. If there's not somebody next to you, I want you to find somebody on these grounds to hug and feel their heartbeat. Feel it. You need that embrace. You need that connection. And I'm going to end with this. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to bring on our next speaker.